Hey everyone, welcome back to the Unqualified Film Bros podcast. We're down a member tonight, but you know what? Declan's been on the first 27 of these. He can take a week off. You got George and Ben and Max. We're going into the latest entry in the Fantastic Beasts franchise in the wizarding world. Ben, you said that you had a lot of thoughts on this one, so I'm going to toss it over to you right to start.
Oh yeah, it's got to be
Let's
one
get
of my favorite
animated.
movies. One of my favorite movies from this year. Uh yeah, I don't know, like it's just the franchise is crashing and burn. Like it's just falling apart. It's like a train wreck of a franchise. It just keeps getting worse and worse. This one might be better than the last one, but that's
It
like a
is.
low, low
It
bar.
definitely is. It was a very low bar.
Low
Um,
bar.
Yeah.
this one has its own problems, so but some of them are much worse than the second one. So yeah, they got rid of Johnny Depp because of
Asked him to step away from the role.
yeah, asked him to step down.
It was
They didn't do
his
the same thing for
decision.
Ezra Miller for some reason.
To
Even
be
though he's been
fair, Ezra Miller hadn't been arrested when the movie was being made.
That's not true. That's not true. No, Ezra Miller, like
I mean, in
he
this
got
most recent series of
yeah, I know he
criminal
got arrested
offenses
like twice in Hawaii, like within a few
within the
days. But
last
like
month.
Yeah.
I remember many times when he's been arrested. I remember one time like someone caught him like choking out a girl at a
I
nightclub.
remember
It's
that.
like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
That was recent.
we're hiring him again. Yeah. Yeah, that was like a few months ago, maybe like 6 months ago or something.
and that's one of the things
They're talking
about
about the Flash because of that.
yeah that's one of the things about this movie that I didn't really get is his role in this, their role in this. Sorry, I think they use they them pronouns.
Yeah,
What?
that's right.
So
But the
this
fact that
actually, like, I
Credence.
wanted to tie this in
Oh,
because
go on.
the personal reasons are very clearly inspiring some of the character choices, which is they probably saw, oh, Ezra Miller, well, he's not looking so stable right now. So they're very clearly trying to kill off his character or at least write him out some way. So they don't have to deal with that
Uh,
liability.
that was weird towards the end of the film.
Because it seems like their plan for these movies has been no plan, like they said in the movie, you know? And I
Yeah,
think
it's
that,
weird that the production meeting actually found its way into the script.
yeah,
It
it
broke the
extends
fourth
all the way
wall.
back to like, I think the first film to a certain extent. They're setting up great, like, they're setting up all this stuff and mixing it in with the Fantastic Beasts. I didn't read the books. I know the Fantastic Beasts is not really,
So Fantastic Beasts was a guidebook. It wasn't even
yeah.
based off of
It was a
anything. So there's no
companion
real
piece.
source material.
So they're
Yeah.
just like mixing it in, and I find it kind of like, oh yeah, it's kind of cute. Harry Potter kind of made sense, right? Because he's tied to Voldemort, but Newt Scamander and all these like random people, um, you're really pushing the envelope. I know it's magic and all, but like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, this franchise since the first film, and I enjoyed the first film. I thought it
Yeah,
was
it
unique.
was
I thought it
fun.
had a
It
good.
it was just like there's no
Yeah,
way you can continue this. You're really going to tell me that
well, that's
Gillard
it.
Grindelwald is going to be taken down by this guy and his magical
It
pets?
should
No,
not
so the so
have carried on
it's
past one film.
so it's leading up to
The
it's
duel.
it's not about Newt Scamander. It's about Dumbledore and
Yeah, I
Grindelwald.
know.
But then
And that's
why
why
But then
call
it's
it
called
Fantastic
Fantastic
Beasts?
Beasts.
exactly. And with each film, they've gotten further and further away from what made the first film
There were
so
like
charming,
two
right? Is
beasts in this.
yeah, this is not about Fantastic Beasts anymore. This is about Dumbledore and Grindelwald um, falling in love with each other, which is fine, but
Yeah.
like don't make it a story based off of the Fantastic Beasts
Let's
franchise.
let's
Just
just
tell that
look at
story.
the
Tell
look at
the
the
story of
titles.
Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
We got Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Okay, mostly Fantastic Beasts. Grindelwald just sort of shows up, but then we just transition Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. Now these things don't go together, and neither do Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Like, okay, sure, he's got like a phoenix. Yeah, that's a Fantastic Beast, but that's where it stops. I mean, it's completely just ridiculous. And then you get to the characters, right? Which are haphazardly written. It seems like they've got a plot arc that changes from film to film, sort of like the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah, I think you said
But
it best, Ben. It's just going into a franchise without having a plan.
Yeah.
Going into a film series without having a plan, which was the fatal flaw for the Star Wars sequels.
I think Credence is kind of like Rey in a lot of ways. It's like, oh, you're the son of this person. Wait, no, you maybe a Dumbledore. Oh yeah, you're this guy's son, but you're dying. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
them shoehorning in like Aberforth Dumbledore as his father was so weird. Like, why?
I mean, it makes the age gap makes more sense than like another brother.
I feel like
I think my big issue with Credence in this movie is that you build him up so much in the first film, then obviously in that second film you have that plot twist right in the last scene of the movie.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of just like a brooding henchman who's pushed off to the side because you're going to let Mads Mikkelsen become the main antagonist of the movie. And, you know, Mikkelsen does a great job. That man can play the hell out of a villain, but like, again, as we've been saying for the last 10 minutes, it's just not the story of, you know, Newt and Jacob and Tina and Queenie and Credence anymore. It's Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
I mean, that started at the end of the first movie.
It didn't need to, though.
Which it didn't, yeah.
You could have wrapped up that movie and just been like, here's a fun, like, Harry Potter spin-off movie. But no, you got to, you know, squeeze out every single drop of money you can get from Joe Rowling.
And they also announced immediately with the new series, with this series, that it would be 5 films from the get-go. This was never going to just be a one-off or even a trilogy. It was
of course, they haven't greenlit the 4th one yet. So.
No, they haven't done the 4th or the 5th one. And I'm thinking the 5th one might not happen and they might just end it with the 4th, which, you know, I'd be fine with.
Honestly, they could have had the big duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
Yeah, they could have just done it now.
Right there. Yeah. In that last scene in atop the temple.
And look, I think that actually was a pretty good scene.
It was a good moment for it.
Yeah, it was a good moment. And I think it would have made a lot of sense. And then it carried on for like 15 extra minutes for no reason.
Yeah, I think this film, it has some strengths. Like Crimes of Grindelwald was just overstuffed with characters. You're meeting, you know, you've got more new characters than characters you've seen before in a sequel, which should not be the case. This film, the cast is condensed. You really only have, you know, 7 or 8 characters that you're focusing on. And, you know, a couple of people are ornamental in a couple of scenes, like the candidates and the current, you know, leader of the wizarding community or whatever. You've got a more focused cast and of characters, which I liked. I thought that was an improvement on the Crimes of Grindelwald. But in terms of story, again, this could have been part 3 of 3. And when you have that big moment atop the temple, have the big fight. Have that be the duel that they've been building towards.
Yeah.
And you could have ended it right there. But now you have this great story, and, you know, this felt like Grindelwald's big move to try to take over the wizarding community. And now you've got, you know, plans at least for 2 more movies.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the cast of characters was great, you know, in terms of size and focus. The visuals, it was shot really well. The musical score was great. But like, where do we go from here? How do you
you know, it was shot
how do you
okay.
get 2 more films out of this?
Like, it's not even creative that much anymore. Like, you could have shot it better. Like, you said it was shot well, but like, I really didn't think it was. I mean, it wasn't very creative at all.
What I mean by that is, you know, like the sequences, like when they're going through the village at the start of the 3rd act, I think that felt like a thriller, which was really cool.
To a certain extent, but there's no thrills in it because like
No,
there's no suspense.
right.
I mean the strengths in the like early Harry Potter films and even like Fantastic Beasts, they did have a lot of cool camera angles, especially with like the briefcase and stuff like going in and out. They utilized like none of that in this film. It was like just straight shooting for most of it. I mean, there are a few things here and there, but like really bland for a magical movie.
I agree. Like that's one of the things that I love about the Harry Potter films is that they capture a sense of wonder and fantasy. They're fantastical.
Yeah.
Like more fantastical than Fantastic Beasts, which is a huge problem in and of itself. But I also think that we shouldn't overlook the issues with just the overarching plot of this film, which is basically a mirror image of what was going on in the late 1930s and early 40s with Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Yeah.
Like we're focusing on a minister, like the leader of the magical community, who's German, being manipulated by another German who tries to stage a coup by inserting himself onto a ballot to basically cleanse the magical community of
So ham-fisted.
Like it is
it's pretty
so ham-fisted. Exactly.
However, I will defend that that source material is already kind of written.
It was, yeah. I mean, it is when it takes place.
But the other thing that I did want to mention, and again, I don't remember the story exactly, but I'm pretty sure they like, so they're focusing on Dumbledore and Grindelwald, but it seems like they've lightened it. It's like sort of their story, but with a lot less emotional like interaction.
Well, that's one of the things.
Because I'm pretty
that
sure
comes
Aberforth
out of focusing
and
on the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah,
it should be two separate films entirely.
And, Albus are supposed to like hate each other. I'm pretty sure.
And, yeah, they are supposed to hate each
pretty
other.
Much hate each other.
What happened to their sister?
Yeah, because Aberforth blames Albus for the death of his sister. So I thought it was weird that he was just like, oh, I mean, he's a little grumpy, but like, didn't seem right.
Yeah, that's a character that is probably best left ornamental.
And they gave him a son too,
in a couple of the Harry Potter films. But now he's front and center, and it just
he just felt like the wrong, like, I mean, if you're gonna bring him front and center, like, sure, I guess, but he just didn't feel like that was the same character. I mean, he just didn't hit any of the same notes.
And maybe we'll see more of him.
I don't get it. And then giving him like a son, and I don't know.
It just feels like the stakes between them are gone though, because their sister's already dead, so it's not like I don't know what else could get brought up on the. I mean, they'll have to bring up something or make something up that is from the past. They can't bring anything new to the picture.
But I mean, it's just stupid to like change that. They changed her to like
the son.
I don't think that was.
Yeah, but like he's gonna die anyways.
True.
So
yeah, Ben, that was not canon before, and that was just awkward in the theater to wait. What
wasn't? Sorry, I missed. Was
Ariana
was
that she was an obscurial or obscurus, whatever.
Oh. Yeah, it wasn't confirmed, I don't think, but it was like suspected
they
at the end of the first.
They said she was.
Yeah. No, I mean in the canon before this. I don't think it was confirmed until this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like another attempt to tie the greater story that we know to what we've learned from the first two Fantastic Beasts films. It's like, oh, that's a word I've heard before. Oh, it applies to this other character.
Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah, like the obscurus or obscurial, whatever it is, it's such a lazy plot, like device. I mean, it's so stupid. But there's just like a bunch of boringness. Like the characters just feel flat and unmoving. it seems like they've got the same character arcs every single movie now.
And a lot of it was predictable in terms of the
Yeah, it's all
story.
predictable. That's why, like you said, it's sort of suspenseful, but like every suspense is killed in this movie because I don't care about these characters anymore. Like the story is so just linear and boring. It's very clearly Grindelwald versus Dumbledore, good, bad, and I think they're just taking out all of like any intricacies that Grindelwald had in the like source material.
Yeah.
Um,
What did you guys think
give,
of? Oh no, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Mads Mikkelsen for.
That's what I was just going to ask about.
Because the whole time I was watching him, and I don't think it's just because of Johnny Depp, but I just felt like he was too serious. I guess he was trying to be charismatic.
And he accomplished that to an extent. But he didn't
seem as crazy like behind the scenes. Right. They also just, I don't know if they tried with his eye or just they're like.
I had noticed it a little bit, but it was inconsistent.
Who gives a shit? It's not even Johnny Depp. They're gonna notice this, but
I thought it was the right choice not to address it. Like they've got an easy in with Polyjuice Potion.
No,
they could just say, "I need to be in disguise right now," and have that be it. Like he was in disguise as Colin Farrell in the first film.
You probably just don't want to address it, but I do think they
better not to bring it up.
I think that's fine to not bring it up because it's such a complex issue, and I think it would just distract from what they were trying to do.
Well, yeah, because if they had done that in the story, that leaves the door open for Johnny Depp to return.
Yeah, and they can't.
And I think they pretty clearly don't want to.
Yeah, they shut the door on that.
They're gonna have to fire Aftercast before the end of it. They're just all gonna.
No, we're gonna get an opening crawl.
It'll be the fault of the movies. They're gonna start drinking themselves to death because they were in these movies.
The fourth film, we're gonna get an opening crawl that just says, "Credence has died."
Yeah, probably. Just like somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, that's how that's how Ezra Miller is written out of this.
He's no longer in the film.
Just like how Gina Carano is going to be written out of Star Wars.
It's just so bad. They need to start thinking about this or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. This franchise is just too. But I mean, the crux of it all is this franchise shouldn't have happened. I mean, if you want to make a Fantastic Beasts film, go for it.
Make a Fantastic Beast film,
but don't include Grindelwald as it's the same with The Hobbit. The book is really smart with Sauron. They don't even mention his name, partially because it's written first. But they do all these adventures, and Sauron's lurking in the shadows or whatever. But they never really.
Not even the big bad of the book.
No, not even close. And you can do the same thing with Grindelwald. You don't need if it takes place at the same time, great. Oh, look, Grindelwald, something's happening with him. But you got to do something else. This is not a good formula. And I feel like they've just reduced it to magical battles is all they care about. Yeah. When in the first Harry Potter movies, those are fun, but it's about the characters, but
it's about the characters, it's
fantasy,
about the
like Max said.
Yep. And I think if they had taken the time in the first and even second film to develop the characters and then introduce Grindelwald in the third film, after having other villains in the first two, I think that would make sense. I think that would be a better development of the story. And like Ben said, it would make me care about the characters more, because at this point I don't really care about any of them. I mean, I want to see how it ends just because I've been invested for most of my life in the wizarding world and everything, but
we know how it ends.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We know how
we know that Dumbledore.
I just want to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, we know that Dumbledore
it's not
gets to where he gets. We know that Grindelwald ends up in jail. Dumbledore doesn't kill him.
I want to point to something else that I thought goes back to the characters just being flat. Some of the ones that already exist. I'm not a huge Harry Potter head or whatever, Potterhead, whatever they call him. My sister really likes them. She says Minerva McGonagall was like rewritten. She's not supposed to be this old. They just wrote her in. She has no importance in this film.
No, it's fan service, but it's bad
fan service. It's like you're rewriting your canon for fan service. That's not very good. And then Dumbledore, even in the old Harry Potter films, in the early films, he looks all-knowing and he's very wise, and he is in the later films too. But you get to see the corruption that like he had his own demons, and I don't feel like you see. I mean, for focusing on Grindelwald and Dumbledore, they really don't even scratch the surface, it seems, with like the darkness inside Dumbledore. Especially when that whatever that creature came and like bowed to, I don't know who these things are bowing
to.
None of these people are pure of heart. You cannot convince me of that.
Also, just to have it go up to Dumbledore and acknowledge with the the whole thing, and then he's like, no, there's got to be someone else. There's got to be someone else.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody else.
I mean, I was watching it with my buddy.
Didn't they say it was rare? This thing could just go up to anybody? What are these just like closest to pure of heart?
I was watching the movie with my buddy, and he leaned over to me and he goes, that thing's going to walk up to Jacob and bow. And I was like, that would be a great twist, because I wouldn't see that coming. And then, of course, it just goes up to one of the other people who are in the running. And it's like, oh, well, that could have happened the whole time, and you didn't need that moment.
Yeah. I kind of thought it might go to Jacob too.
Yeah,
because of what Dumbledore said to him. He was like,
I'm gonna call out Declan because he's not here to defend himself. So a few months back, or a month and a half ago, he and I are watching the Batman opening night, and one of the trailers before the movie is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. And our buddy Chip, who you guys know from Shout at the Plate, he is sitting to my right and Declan's sitting to my left. And Chip goes, why is Jacob getting a wand? Why is he holding it up in this big storm sequence? When the attempted assassination, all that. But then Declan gets all mad. And I'm sorry, Declan, I love you. But Declan gets all mad and he goes, it's because Jacob's going to be a wizard. And so that was in the back of my head the entire time I was watching this. And then it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, buddy.
No, because
I wish Declan were here tonight. Just to be able to talk about that.
If he was able to perform magic,
Ben,
he has
Declan's not here.
Blood in him.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was
so stupid.
That was so stupid. There was no purpose to him having a wand. He barely even used it. Like
the entire thing. Yeah, the entire thing of like the plan is no plan. I don't know how countersight works. It sounds like something you have to cast a spell, like so you can confuse them. I don't think you're actually supposed to just go around and not have a fucking clue what you're doing, because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Wands have magic in them. Like as a muggle, could you just pick up a wand?
No, I don't think so.
Use
you have to have magical blood.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why Jacob, like being able to perform spells, means he has magical blood in him. So he's not a muggle.
That said,
but there's no purpose for him to have a wand. He didn't even he used it on accident, basically.
Yeah.
Dan Fogler should get more work, because that man has carried this franchise.
He's the best part.
He's the best part of these films.
And you know what? His performance in this, especially in the second and third films, because the first film, he was like, Harry Potter in the first film, Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, whatever you want to call it. He's full of wonder. He's experiencing this world for the first time. Second and third films, he's really nuanced. He's really he's caring about the situations, but he's also bringing that levity and comic relief.
The second film, I really don't like any of it, and that's probably the worst
I don't
for
either.
him, because he has to be all mopey for whatever reason. Like there's just no reason for any of this relationship drama, and stop it. Like, you're already putting in Grindelwald and Dumbledore's thing in Fantastic Beasts, And then you've got
Yeah.
other people's relationship problems. Like, I don't care. No one does.
Yeah. But Dan Fogler could he could be a leading man in like an Adam Sandler or
I hope
Seth
he just
Rogen level
finds
series of movies.
another. And I did need to
He's
do
funny.
a shout out to
He is funny. Yeah.
Oliver Masucci. I think that was his name. He was the Anton, the Ministry of Magic.
Vogel.
Yeah, Vogel.
Vogel.
He looked a lot like Johnny Depp did in the front. Very pale and
I've seen it before in this series Dark, which is very good. But he's pretty good in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another character that isn't fleshed out though.
Oh yeah, no, there's not really much he could have done with it. It was like generic German bad guy.
And
number
then you
5,
get,
actually.
you know, I think Theseus, Newt's brother, potential for a great character, really good foil for Newt, but you know, he's pushed off to the side for a lot of this movie. And then you get, you know, Lally Hicks, who can't decide whether she wants to do an English accent or American accent. It just sounds like Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones. And it's just the weirdest transatlantic accent I've ever heard. And completely undercuts her performance because I can't, it's too distracting.
Yeah.
I can't focus on the words she's saying because of what she sounds like saying them.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And she's paired up the entire movie with Dan Fogler. And I'm like, you've got a great comedic actor who can carry a scene, carry a moment, carry a movie. And he's just got to be asking her all the questions all the time. But then she's, you know, she's another one of these characters that's thrown in there, you know, in the second film. It's like, oh, that's one of the ones that we're carrying over to the third film.
Yeah.
They condensed the cast.
I thought she was in the second film too, so that says everything.
I just need to go back to Theseus because, like, in the previous film, like, love of his life or whatever, his wife, Lita Lestrange, dies.
Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman.
Whoever her brother is,
Yusuf,
yes, old French guy. Yeah, he seems sort of broken up about it. I would have thought Theseus would have been a little more broken up in this film. I mean,
good twist with him in the third act. I liked that twist when he, you know, when he switched sides again.
Who?
Yusuf.
I thought you were talking about Theseus. I was like,
yeah.
No. Theseus. I mean, you got to do the whole swivel.
Yeah, I mean,
swivel.
Was it really a good
swivel?
Like, his character arc was non-existent. It was like, oh, you're maybe with Grindelwald, but you haven't said a word. He didn't say a single word. And then he just turns around. So I didn't really buy him. Like, maybe, it's sort of bizarre, kind of a useless character, if I'm being honest. But then you get Theseus, who also seemed a lot more caring. In the previous, movie, it didn't seem like he cared that much about his sister. And Theseus does not seem angry enough, especially when he like sees Grindelwald and stuff. I thought, oh, he'd be yelling.
As an horror, he should.
Like,
yeah. So, final thoughts on this before we get into the second part of the episode.
Just ask. His plan was to confuse someone. I'm confused.
Ben's treading water here for the next 2 weeks before the movie he really wants to talk about.
Yeah, let's hope my brain can still handle films of that caliber. After Morbius in this film, it's turning to
a rough month for Ben.
Yeah,
a rough month.
But we got a really fun one next week, and then your most anticipated movie of the year the week after.
Yeah.
So Max, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that I haven't said already. I mean, the franchise needed to die after definitely after the second one, potentially after the first, absolutely after this one. But they're gonna keep making movies. I would guess a fourth one is gonna come, and maybe a fifth one. Who knows? But it could wrap after four, and I wouldn't be too upset about that.
Yeah, as
See
long
what
as
it
they
does in the box office.
as long as they can
Yeah.
exactly, Ben, as long as they continue to
Yeah.
break even at least on these movies.
I don't think it's doing too well. This film.
It's week one. We'll see how it gets, after
Yeah.
3-4 weeks in the box office. But again, it's going up
Morbius made
against
its money back, so
right.
Morbius
And
did make,
that can
but
happen
that
with
you
any
can chalk
movie.
that up to fake advertising. They threw
True.
a bunch of
That's
stuff in there that
true.
was just not in the movie.
That's very true.
At least this one's pretty faithful to the trailer.
there were like 4 people in the theater other than me.
Or I
This one
think
has made
6 or 7.
$1.9 million more than their budget. It's a $200 million budget film. It made $201.9 million.
They're gonna make a fourth.
Yeah.
Because as long as Warner Brothers can squeeze money out of this franchise, they will.
Yeah.
And the
Done it
fact that this
before.
one was better than the second one is also helpful too.
I think the bottom line for me is that yes, this film is better than its predecessor. It's not as good as the first film. I've long said that the franchise, since I saw The Crimes of Grindelwald 4 years ago now, I went opening night because I had nothing else to do on a Friday night, or Thursday night, or whatever it was. I was still an undergrad. I had no excuse. But I've long said that the third film was the crux of the series. I think the first film was really good. I think the second film was, I haven't seen it since. The third film was going to decide whether or not this was going to be a good franchise. And this film is so middle of the road that I don't really know what to make of it. Because yes, it's better than the second one. No, it's not as good as the first one. Where do we go in the story from here? What's left to tell besides how it ends?
They didn't have much to tell in the first place, so
right. You're making it up as you go along. J.K. Rowling is writing the screenplays. Obviously, she has her own controversy, and that's a whole nother episode that we can talk about that.
It's just amazing how she's able to butcher her own work.
Yeah, these are her ideas, and it's just not turning out well.
Yeah, I can guarantee that Warner Brothers is not coming in and saying, okay, no, let's change this. No, she definitely has like full creative control over this.
100%.
Just absolutely.
Since she's stopped producing and she's actually writing the screenplays.
Yeah.
And also, one more note about the production of these. Does David Yates have like some information about the people in charge of Warner Brothers? Because no one else has directed a Harry Potter or Wizarding World film since years and years and years ago.
I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty certain that he is J.K. Rowling's favorite director.
Why?
He's directed the Harry Potter films.
First of all, wrong. Alfonso Cuarón is the best director who's done any Harry Potter films. But that's another conversation for a few minutes from now. Anyway, segue. Let's get into some Harry Potter rankings because that's the reason why we all signed on tonight. Someone speak.
Okay, I'll go first. Sorry, I'm just in a daze from this film, thinking about it.
You don't have to think about it anymore after like 10 minutes from now.
I gotta say one last thing because I was just thinking about Harry Potter and like there's such a good darkness feel every time like Voldemort showed up. Even in the first film, like you see him in the forest, and it's scary, right? Like it's kind of horrifying. Grindelwald is such a lame villain. Like I'm not terrified in any of the films. There's like no dark feeling. You just have like emo obscurus in the corner, but like that's the only darkness in the film. And I think that's very strange. But that connects to my rankings. My third film is going to be probably Half-Blood Prince. I think I'd have to put it there. I really like the film. Just because I like some of the characters. And
Big
I don't know.
lavender brown guy.
Yeah, big lavender. Yeah, he's an interesting character though. I really like Professor Horace Slughorn,
Jim
right?
Broadbent.
Yeah. I think he's a great character. There are some really good developments, and I think it's one of the stronger moments where you get to see the darker moments. Like I was saying before, you get to see Dumbledore's darker moments.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the film. I think it's set up pretty well. Um, Probably number two is going to be Order of the Phoenix. I think that's a very solid film. Sort of sets the stage for the big war that's going to encompass the next few films. And then number one is obviously got to be Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the best Harry Potter film by far. And I think it's really neat that like in the third film, when they're still relatively young, they're approaching more mature content. With like Sirius Black is pretty mature content. Or Bellatrix Lestrange and all those guys. Yeah, I think it's just really done well, and the characters are very well written. Sirius Black is definitely one of the best Harry Potter characters. And I think it does a great job showing like Harry's own, anger, that he's ready to kill Sirius Black, and then he's like the closest family he has. There's great arcs that start in that film. So there you go. All much better than Fantastic Beasts 1, 2, or 3.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can go. I think all 8 of the Harry Potter films are better than any one of the. Well, that's not true. There's probably one that is
even
worse.
The
one or two that are worse than the first film.
Even the Chamber of Secrets is better.
Yeah, I mean, Chamber of Secrets still has that appeal of like they're still kids and they're still
it's childlike wonder.
Yeah. And that's
it's also kind of like
the first 2 films.
It's kind of like a stoner monster movie too.
And the Diary's pretty cool.
Diary's great. The Chamber of Secrets sequence is great.
Yeah.
It's just so bloody long. It's over 240 because they're trying to do the entire book in one movie. Anyway, Max, your rankings.
Yeah, sure. Pretty similar. I'm actually gonna put Deathly Hallows Part 2 up there. It is one big long battle scene, but I think it is a great conclusion to the franchise. It is as epic as it should be. Of course, I have problems with it, but I think it is a well done film. Number 2 for me is Half-Blood Prince. We were talking about this before we started recording, but I have grown to like it a lot more as I've gone on, and I've liked it more with each time that I've seen the film. I think it is well done. It has a weird color tint to it, to the cinematography, which I find a little off-putting each time I see it, just because it is kind of jarring. But I think the story tracks pretty closely. I would have liked for it to flesh out some of the Horcruxes a little bit more from the books, because I think they're important to the last 2 films. I think the last 3 films, Half-Blood Prince and then both the Deathly Hallows, are essentially a trilogy, and they need to reflect that, and they didn't quite do that perfectly, but it's a well done film. And then same as Ben, my number 1 has got to be Prisoner of Azkaban. It's by far and away the best Harry Potter film.
So I guess that leaves me. Number 3. All 3 of mine have been said already. And we match on very similar reasons. So number 3 is going to be Order of the Phoenix. I think what Ben said about just getting into the Prisoner of Azkaban is getting into the mature themes, but Order of the Phoenix is really about starting the war, and I think that is really crucial to the events of the entire book series and film series. I think it's really a well-made film. I think when I was probably 11 or 12 when I saw that, 12 or 13 when I saw that for the first time, and or or maybe I was younger. I don't remember when it came out exactly. 07, so I was probably 10. Doesn't matter. I think I walked out of the movie theater and said that was the best movie I had ever seen. I was 10, and now it's third in my Harry Potter rankings. So maturity is fun. But yeah, it's a great film. It holds up. Number 2, I want to go Deathly Hallows Part 2. Y'all know I love me a good Avengers Endgame type movie. It is one long battle sequence for 2 hours and 10 minutes. But you know what? It earns that after, 10 years of filmmaking in this franchise. It hits all of the right story beats. There's a lot of weight to it. You get great performances from everyone in the main cast. And it didn't deviate too much from the book, with the exception of one major moment at the very end, with your Infinity War type dusting.
Happened at the same time.
Yeah. I didn't know Thanos was in the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
Harry Potter in the MCU. Just wait till Disney buys Warner Brothers.
It's part of it.
It is. It's canon now because we said it.
It's number 1. I just saw it for the first time in a movie theater a couple weeks ago. I had never seen it on the big screen. Prisoner of Azkaban. It's the best Harry Potter film. Alfonso Cuarón, again, is the best director to ever direct a Harry Potter film. I love Gary Oldman's introduction as Sirius Black. I think David Thewlis is a fantastic Remus Lupin. Timothy Spall in his brief scene as Peter Pettigrew. I think you get great performances from the main trio: Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson. Michael Gambon makes his debut as Dumbledore in this one, and he nails it. That's big. Richard Harris left big shoes to fill, and he did a great job with that. And it's just gorgeous. It's shot really well. The score is great.
Yeah.
And that just about wraps up this episode. Our thoughts on Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Our thoughts on our top 3 Harry Potter movies. Go see Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, or don't.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
This
honestly,
one is,
I do. Please don't.
This is Morbius 2 for Ben. Yeah. All right. We got a really fun one coming up next week. Hopefully Declan will be back with us. So on that note, I will see you guys. We will see you all. Really fun ending for me here. Tripping over my words. All right. We'll see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.